Laura Vorreyer pioneered the dog walking industry and is the owner of Your Dog's Best Friend, a premier dog walking and pet sitting business in Los Angeles. Laura is also a passionate advocate for animal rights and is dedicated to pet rescue. And this morning she's here to talk with us about senior dogs and how we need to treat them. Good morning, Laura, and welcome.
Good morning.
Welcome to Midwest Opinions.
Thanks for having me on again.
Yeah, we were talking about that a little while ago, that we have talked to you before, and love talking to you every time that we do. Now, as you probably remember, John and I are both passionate dog owners, and we do rescue, transport, all those things. And one of the things that you see when you're involved in that is people surrendering senior dogs. And that's something that you wanted to talk about this morning.
Oh, gosh, nothing boils my blood like that.
You got that right. Me too.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I mean, this is so inhumane. But you know what? Let's just say circumstances happen. Let's not think the worst of someone that they just said, hey, I'm getting new furniture and you don't match anymore, so
right.
You got to go, which I've seen that too.
Yeah.
But let's just assume, people fall on hard times, and they do have to surrender their senior dog, which is, so sad. I would suggest really try and find a family that can take them. A shelter and a rescue, there's no place for a senior dog, especially a dog that's, become accustomed to the soft bed, the nice
right.
couch, the loving touch. So it's difficult to see seniors in shelters, and I know there are a lot of rescues, especially out here in Los Angeles, shining a light on the plight of senior pets and trying a lot to get them adopted out. And there are a lot of advantages to having a senior pet. They get it already. There's no craziness, chewing up, wetting this, spoiling that, ruining this, So they're chill for the most part. So I'm a big advocate for people, and my dog's a senior now, and, he's finally smartening up. So.
Right, yeah, exactly. Well, we've actually got 3 senior dogs right now. We've had them most of their lives. But there is something about, they're just, you're right, they're just cool.
They're cool. Yeah, they're cool. They make your
cool.
schedule. They know the schedule.
Absolutely. They know also when you come in from outside, they get a treat, and this is what happens, and they're way ahead of you. I mean, they know exactly what's going to happen. How do you what's the definition of a senior dog? I don't mean to interrupt, but...
Oh, no, that's okay. It varies from breed to breed. Yeah. I think, some dogs age faster than other dogs. And, once they get out of, 2 to 4, they're kind of going through, those teenage years. But then, they're getting to middle age. And then, sometimes 7 and above, they can be considered seniors already. Now, smaller dogs seem to stay younger a little bit longer because, they don't have the bigger bodies and, the joint issues and the weight problems and just, being bigger. So, being smaller, I guess, keeps you younger. There's something to be said for that.
It doesn't work for me, but for everybody else, maybe for dogs. Yeah, they are amazing, and especially if they get a lot of exercise. And that's one of the things that I've noticed about our dogs, and I think you'd have to all call them all senior. But they get exercise every day. And I don't mean a little bit. I mean an hour walk. And
oh, wow. See, that's so good for them. That's so good for them. It's so good for them.
Yeah, and the person walking them, too, even if it's me. And I don't walk as far as my wife does. But that's the thing that keeps them young, because they're excited about to chase the ball, and they're just get to go to the lake and swim and all that kind of stuff.
Well, it's keeping you young, too. People that have dogs live longer, they live healthier lives, and on average, they're slimmer than people who don't have dogs, just for the very fact that you walk them, And people who, are going, I have a friend who's a nutritionist, and she said, gosh, your dog is your best friend if you're trying to lose weight or get into shape, because you got a workout buddy right there. When you want to go, they're ready. They don't check their email or make a couple phone calls or watch their show. They're ready to go.
They're ready.
They're at the front door spinning circles waiting for you to put the leash on.
I know.
Exactly,
Try changing your mind, after your dog thinks you're going, right?
Oh.
It's not happening.
Oh, you're in the doghouse is where you're at. Get that stink eye from the dogs. I hate that. Yeah.
The stink eye from the dog. Right?
But what happens though if you do have a senior dog and they love to go on walks, but they look like they're having some pain issues? What do you do then?
This is what I recommend. So, you know what? Why don't we just say, you keep going on walks, but you make them shorter and increase the frequency. And, I think for dogs, I know for my dog anyway, a lot of the excitement is in the very beginning. The whole process, the ritual. Oh, we get on your collar and we get the leash and we get the key and we go out the door. So for me, my dog does have some problems with his back legs. And so I shorten the walk. I give him frequent walks, but I shorten them. Sometimes we just go to the cul-de-sac or the front yard, and he's got his leash on, and, we go just a little short distance, and he comes back, he gets back on the bed, and he's happy. So
right.
I say don't stop the walks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got to go out. Don't stop the walks. That's the worst thing you can do for your dog is stop giving them that exercise, because just like us, you don't use it, and you lose it, and your joints start to hurt, and it gets worse when you start again.
Yeah.
So definitely keep exercising them, keep tossing the ball to them, even if, there's a lot of bad weather these days, especially this season. So, toss the ball inside, get them outside, keep them active. Senior pets need to stay active, and that's what's going to help them maintain their health and their good mental health, too.
Well, and you were talking about keeping them in shape, and one of the considerations that you have is their diet. As they get older, their metabolism changes a little bit. What can you do for them?
Absolutely. So this is a good question. Nutritional, sort of needs do change as your dogs get older. Definitely talk to your vet about that, because there's some wonderful foods out there that we can use, and even supplements to help our dogs. But I know as Dexter has gotten older, he's had a harder time processing fats in his food, so he had to, of course, move to a prescription diet. I'll add, very expensive, too. Of course. They never have to move to cheaper food, do they?
Well, or supplements, too,
Supplements, so many supplements, and so all that stuff. There's so many things available, but what you want to do is make sure you're doing what's right for your pet and that they're digesting it. And you really want to make sure that seniors don't get fat. You don't want them getting heavy, because once they start putting on those extra pounds, it is more wear and tear on their joints. It's harder for them to exercise. It's harder for them to move around. So you don't want to get a food that's, too dense in calories, so they start just putting on the pounds. So that's a no-no.
That's right. Well, and then, back to the original question about senior dogs and going to shelters. And what would you tell somebody if they were considering giving up a senior dog because they're just too much work?
Oh, gosh. This is probably the unpopular opinion, but you owe it to your dog to give your dog that final shot. Honestly, it's terrifying in a shelter. If you have a senior dog and the choice is, I'm going to put him in a shelter, and it's a big question mark, it's not going to be good. Listen, people want to tell themselves a fairy tale. Oh, they're going to get adopted, and a nice family's going to come and love them. That's not the case, okay? Really, I can give you my word. So you owe it. If you've had a dog for a long time and they're a senior, if you can't find someone that to take care of them, I say you really do owe them that final shot. And you hold them in your arms, and you look them in their eyes, and you tell them they were a good dog.
Yep.
And that's the end of it. Do not... Oh, gosh, I hate when people surrender seniors. They're shaking, they're crying, they're terrified. It's no place for it. It's really the shelters and the rescues. They're doing a great job. They have a tough job. It's no place for a senior. It really isn't. So I say, please, unless there's really zero choice, and there's always a choice, I would say, please don't surrender your senior pets.
No.
Yeah, and we've been through this several times. Of course, dogs only have a finite life. They a lot shorter lives than what we do. But they've been so faithful and so loyal to you, and been such a good companion for their whole life. You owe it to them to take care of them in the final stages of their life. And it's something that I just feel very, very strongly about, that you owe it to them to help them through that transition.
Oh, absolutely. You do owe it to them. And I have to say, people that, put their senior pets into rescues or shelters, and then they look back on it and they think, oh gosh, what did I do? What happened to that? And guilt is a stern taskmaster, so you want to try and avoid that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Laura, as always, we love talking to you. I wish we had a little bit more time, but I know that you probably have other interviews to get to. But I do want to mention your book, The Pet Sitter's Tale. That's how we originally got to talk to you. And it's just as funny and just as much fun as it was when we first talked to you, and I hope people go out and buy that. But I do want to thank you for being with us and talking about this important subject.
It's always my pleasure, and anytime I'm happy to come on, and we can talk dogs all day.
All right. Thank you so much, Laura.
I like that. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Yeah, appreciate
Bye.
it. Thank you so much.